guys. Well, it's lovely to join you on such a sunny day. It's gorgeous outside, it really is. Just bear with me, I've got to get my feet underneath my easel. So, I'm Ruby from DottyDelightful.com and I'm an artist and mentor, and I love to help people in the community. And I do tarot readings and all sorts of stuff. But my main love and my main passion that fills me with so much joy is making art and painting. So as you can see behind me, these are massive canvases that I've brought home from uni, and they're that big. I've had to tie them to my bookshelf to stop them falling over. So I just want to talk a little bit about how I started, and hopefully it'll inspire you too. So when I was 12, I was in art class and I drew a pair of hands. It was out of a Vogue magazine, and it was an advertisement, and it was a pair of hands holding a bamboo handle, and it was an old man hand. Sorry, I'm just going to move my bin, it's on that leg. I drew them with just pencil, and they came out so well. I was so proud of myself, and my art teacher said that they were alright. You know, like she wasn't over the moon or anything. And I was a little bit gutted, but I thought, no, I really liked it. And then when I was 13, my stepsister taught me how to draw using grids. And I couldn't get the hang of that at all. She did it really brilliant and I couldn't do it. And then I kind of didn't really do anything for a long time. And then when I was 16, I went to art college, and my dream and my passion was going to be to become a fashion designer. That's what I wanted to do. And I was at art college when I was 16 in St Anne's, which is a seaside town in the UK, and I absolutely loved it. I had so much fun. Then when I was 17, I met a boy, and the boy had his own car and a leather jacket and long hair, and as you all know, any boys like that are probably not very good boys, and I ended up getting pregnant, and I was really poorly, like really ill, so I had to quit my art course at college. And then, even though I was in a relationship with him, and we ended up having 3 children before I was 22, it wasn't a very good relationship. In fact, it wasn't good at all. It was a terrible relationship. But I stuck it out for 8 years because I didn't want to have my children come from a broken home, because that's what I came from. When I was 7, my dad left, and it messes with you. It really messes with your head. So I did try, and it didn't work. So then after that, I went a bit wild, and then I realised that I needed to change. So I signed up for college again, and I did fashion and textiles at college, and I absolutely loved it. But by this point I had children, so my dream of going off to London and becoming a fashion designer wasn't going to work. It really wasn't. Thank God that I didn't do that. Can you imagine me in London as a fashion designer? Anyway, then I started making clothes and all that kind of thing, and I've always been really creative. Fast forward, because you don't need to hear all my life story, but fast forward to when I was 40, and I said, that's it, this is what I'm going to do. I quit my job at the council because it was bloody awful, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to become a full-time artist. So that was 4 years ago, and I am a full-time artist, and it's brilliant. So I just wanted to tell you that, because it doesn't matter how old you are, or where you start, or who told you that you can't draw, or that it's not very good what you make, or anything like that, or if babies come along, or whatever happens, you are able to do exactly what you want to do, and you are able to do the thing that you're passionate about. And what's really brilliant is, at the moment, with this virus, and the whole world is being made to stay at home almost, is that people have started to be more creative. and it's lovely, it really is. But I know some of you don't have a clue where to start, or you will see a blank page like this one and think, what am I going to do with it? How am I going to make marks? How am I going to draw? I can't draw. I can only draw stick men. Well, it's not about that. It's about tuning in to what is already inside you and pulling out, unravelling all that creativity, pulling it out and getting it out of you onto the page, onto the canvas, onto whatever surface that you want to put it on. That's what it's about. It's not about how good somebody is or how rubbish somebody is or how talented they are. It is about finding that inside you and getting it out. So with that in mind, this might be a little bit bizarre or woo-woo for some of you, but just go with it. Just please go with it. So before I start creating anything, I like to have a tidy desk. It's not like this one I've been creating, it's a tip. So my thing is, get all your supplies together. That's what you need to do. Anything that you've got. Now I know that some of you will be at home and only have a biro or a pencil or something. If you've got kids, go and raid the crayons. Just bear with me because I'm going to be talking about all sorts of things, but this video is just about making marks, getting things onto the page. In other videos I'll be doing, I'll be focusing on certain techniques and certain art supplies like watercolours, inks, all that kind of thing, and I understand that you don't all have them at the moment, but what I want to do is I want to cultivate a creative spark inside you, so eventually if you really love doing this, then you'll be able to go and get some supplies or get them ordered into your house and have a play. And then some of you will obviously have paint and things like that as well, which is fabulous. So let's begin. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab any kind of supplies that you've got and any kind of paper or cardboard is fine. Anything you can draw on the backs of envelopes, anything will do today for now. That's all right. Just because I've got all this stuff, it's because this is what I do for my job. This is my job and my passion. So this is why I've got all this stuff. I'm a bit of a hoarder, but it's come in handy now, hasn't it? Anyway, let's start. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a card from the Mythical Creatures Affirmation card deck and see what message we get today. Okay, I'm going to give them a little shuffle. And I'm not going to talk for a second. I'm just going to tune in to how I feel inside. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to tune in to how you feel inside. And just feel that. And the card for today is Dragonfire. And it says, I feel vital and alive. I am ready to take on the day. I like that. I am ready to take on the day. Yes, say it with me. I am ready to take on the day. That's beautiful, isn't it? Dragonfire. We need a bit of that. So, I just want you to settle. This noise that you can hear is my stool. So, I just want you to settle and I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to just think to yourself that this is your time. You're allowed to have this time to be creative. And take some nice deep breaths in, right into your belly. And let it go. Let all that air go. Again. Let it all go. And I want you to let all the outside go. Anything from the outside that you've heard on the news or that's sitting with you, just let it go. For the next half an hour or so, this is just what we're going to do. We're just going to focus on being creative, being in touch with ourselves, and being in the moment. Ooh, and now open your eyes and shake it off. Shake it all off. Shake all that fear away. Shake all that worry away. Know that you're safe and you are supported in this space. So So I'm just going to move my camera forward. I'm going to have to get up and do that, so I'll be out of shot for a little minute. Move my camera forward so you can actually see what I'm doing on the table. In this time while I'm doing that, go and gather your supplies, get all your paper. You can even pause the video if you need more time, and then come back and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so in future videos we'll be having fancy editing and things like that, but at the minute my lovely partner is busy doing his dissertation and he does all my video editing, which is why it was clunky and there was no cuts and all that kind of stuff. But for now, I think, as my lovely spiritual mentor Joanna Hunter says, done is better than perfect. So that's what we're doing. So I presume by now you've got your page or your paper or your envelope or whatever, and you've got something to make a mark with. Now when you first look at a piece of paper, it can feel quite daunting, because what if you put something on it and you make a mistake? You can't rub it out, you can't do this, you can't do that with it. Oh, what if it's rubbish? What if I'm not good enough? Okay, let's just let all that go. Let all that go, because if you make a mess on it, it doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna see it. If you want to put it in the bin, fine. If you want to paint over it, fine. It doesn't matter, okay? When children start drawing, they don't panic about where they're going to put things on the page and if it's going to be good enough. They just start, and that's what I want you to do. So I want you to get something. I'm going to choose my pink pen because I love the pink pen. And I just want you to start now, and I want you anywhere on your paper to make a mark, okay? Just one line like that. Did that feel okay? You've made a mark. You are now an artist. And then I want you to make another mark. Maybe a circle. It feels alright, doesn't it? And then let's do a bigger circle. Like this. And then from that circle, I want you to draw a petal. Now don't panic. Don't think, oh, my petals are going to be rubbish. It's not about that. Remember, we're just making marks. So for a petal, up from the top, up from the bottom, sorry, up to the top, and then the same on the other side, and that's a petal. Now your petals might look like this. That's all fine, that's brilliant. Your petals might look like this. That's also brilliant. All this is about getting over that fear that you are not an artist and that you can't do anything, because it's a load of rubbish. You can. So on your flower, this is going to be a flower, but at the minute we're just making marks. I want you to draw another petal. See? And then another petal. And then, you know what I'm going to say? Another petal. Now this might seem really childish and like I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but I know from speaking to quite a few ladies that at some point in their life something's happened where somebody said that they can't draw, or they're not good enough, or they are not artists. So this is why I'm taking it right back to the beginning, and I want you to see that we can all draw in our own way. Now your flower will not look like my flower, and that is perfectly fine. I don't want it to look like my flower because it's yours. I want you to make your own flower. So all this is for is to show you that with a blank piece of paper, it is okay to make mistakes. And then now I want you to draw another flower in a different style. So do you remember I was showing you the different styles? So just carry on and just draw some more flowers. And this is a really nice mindful thing to do. You might not like to draw flowers, you might like to draw stars or hearts. Do you remember when you was a child, did you doodle when you was meant to be doing your schoolwork on the edge of the pages and you didn't think about it? you just did it. It didn't matter what came out, you just doodled. This is what this is. It's just about getting some marks onto your page. So now what I'm going to do, if you've got anything that's colourful, like if you have a coloured pen, you can start colouring it in a little bit. And can you see how I'm just using marks like that? You can also colour in like this. This is called cross hatching, where you do lines one way and then you do lines the other way. And the closer the lines are together, the more deeper the colour. So that's cross hatching. You could also do little dots. So this is called dot work. And basically all you're doing is loads of dots, but then the closer your dots are together, the more shaded it'll look. So can you see how I'm doing all these little dots really close together? And they look more shaded than when they're far apart. So that's another way of colouring in. You can obviously just keep colouring like this until it's all coloured in, or you could be really perfect and really colour it so there's no white bits showing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just about getting some kind of colour onto your paper and experimenting. The word that I want to use with you is experimenting. So anything that you do is just an experiment, and that makes it feel easier, because with experiments they can go wrong or they can go right, and it doesn't matter. So this is about making marks. That's all we're going to do. Now if you've got a pencil, this is a brilliant tip that I learned at art college. If you've got a pencil, this is a 7B. So the difference with pencils are, let me tell you about them. I'll just reach over. So you see on the pencil, and it says, this one says 5H and this one says 7B. H is the hardness, so it's hard and sharp. Can you see? If you draw with it, you get a really fine line. But a B1 is softer, and the higher the number, the softer it is. So if I draw with a B, can you see it's darker and it's softer. So I know you can't see that right up close, but it's softer. So if you've got your kids' pencils, it'll say HB, which is quite a sharp and light pencil. I don't know if I've actually got a HB in my pot. I think they're all different. I really like, oh that's an 8B, so that'll be even softer. I really like the B ones. What's this one? Let's have a look. A 6B, see, that's a massive one, isn't it? Look at that, it's brilliant. Anyway, so this is the tip that I learned. If you're drawing something with a pencil and you draw a line like this, it's got no depth and it doesn't look like it's moving or it's got edges or anything. But if you draw a line, now I'm going to press harder, lighter, harder, lighter, harder. Can you see the difference that makes? It makes such a massive difference. So say like we're going to draw a circle, and this is a good tip. So use this part of your hand, and you're not going to put your pencil on the page yet, and you're just going to make these circle motions, and then when you've done it a few times, then you put your pencil on the page. Keep going around and see how you can make a great circle. I want you to practice that. So keep your hand moving in circles, and then eventually put your pencil down, and look how perfect your circles are. If you straight away draw a circle, it's wobbly. But if you do this motion, it makes you have lovely circles. So now imagine that the light's coming. You've got to look at where the light's coming. So my light is coming from this window this way. So that, therefore, we know that the shadow will be that side. So now, if I put a darker mark on that side, you can see already how it looks like it's not just flat on the page, and that's all basically because you've looked at where the shadow is coming, falling on your object, and then you've put a darker mark where the dark would be, and you've left the lighter one where your light would be. So the same if we wasn't doing about shadow and light, but we wanted this to make it look like it was not just flat on the page. Do you remember before when I did this? So we're going to go around pressing harder, lighter, harder, lighter, harder and lighter. And can you see it already makes it look like it stands out off the page? Now you can do this with pens as well. Here's a biro. So with a biro you can do the same thing. So you do your circle, and it doesn't work as well obviously as a pencil because a pencil's finer, but if you know where your dark is, your shadow, so you're just going to press harder. It's all about whether you press harder or lighter, you see? And the same with this. If you press, let's make another circle. If you press harder and then lighter, it has a similar effect. So you can still do that. That's just a bog standard biro. And the same with colouring in. So do you remember before there was different ways of colouring in with a biro? On the dark bit, that's where it's going to be darkest. So if I'm doing cross hatching, which was the lines that went one way and then the lines that went the other way, and I'll just do some more lines that are a bit closer to each other on that part. Can you see how it's made the shadow? And this is just a biro, so even if you don't have any art equipment, you can still do it at home with just a biro. And then the same with the dots, you can do the dots. It takes a lot longer though with a biro if you're doing dot work, but you still get the same kind of technique that will come out. And what's really lovely is you can just sit and just put your music on and have a cup of tea, and you can just dot away as long as you like. Oh, I can hear an aeroplane. That's the first aeroplane I've heard for days. Now if you're watching this video like in a couple of years time, you'll be like, what? But that's because at the moment there's a virus going about and a lot of airplanes have stopped flying. So you see how the dots make it look shady, and that's just with a biro, like I said, a pen. So if you're using a pencil, the same, you can do the darker. So I'm pressing hard, not really hard, but I'm pressing hard, and then I start pressing lighter and lighter and lighter, and that's how you shade something in. Basically it's just about how hard you press or how light you press with your pencil. So what I want you to do is, I want you to practice today. I want you to practice with whatever you've got, whether you've got a pen, a pencil, felt tips, anything. If you've got felt tips and you want to do shading, remember how we did it on here. That was a really rough, quick one, but if you took the time you could make it beautiful. I just want you to practice circles today. As many circles as you want on your page, and practice shading. So remember, the harder you press, the darker it is, the lighter you press, the lighter it is. And if you've got something like an orange or an apple, I don't have one down here, you can look at it and look where the shade and the light is hitting it, and then shading the bit where it's hitting it. Should have been prepared, shouldn't I, with an apple. So that's all I want you to do today. And then if you feel like it, when you've done all your circles, you can start adding things in between the circles. So you could add wavy lines to connect them. You could add then lines going this way to connect them, and little tiny lines in the middle, little semicircles. And basically all you're going to do today is doodle, because you're allowed to. And you could use triangles, you could use circles in your lines, in your wiggly lines, and you're just going to keep doing this until you've filled your page. So it seems a bit silly and maybe a bit childish to do this, but the idea is I want you to get it in your head that just because you're an adult, you don't have to act like an adult, however that is. You can play, and this is what it's about. It's about playing. So I'm going to make another circle in the middle. So today, have a lovely time. You are allowed to play, and just make lots of circles. And then I've got a group on Facebook called Dotty Delightful's Creative Circle. And if you want to join, I'll put the link in the comments, and it's free to join, and I will be sharing all sorts of creative things in there to do. I'll obviously still be sharing on Facebook and YouTube and everything like that, but if you want a more in-depth tutorial, or anything, you want to ask any questions or advice, or you want to share your pictures or anything, it'll all be in there. So that's it from me for today. It was only a tiny little lesson, but I just want you to get that confidence up, start building on it, that you are allowed to make marks on your page. So I'm so proud of you for showing up today. I am so pleased that you came and took this time to make art. You are now officially an artist. How amazing is that? So take care, and I will see you soon. Much love.